One of the most stylish action games on the modern market, Bayonetta has recently danced her way back into our combo-building hearts and arthritic thumbs, thanks to a fantastic new Nintendo Switch release of the milestone titles. But the two adventures of our favorite Umbran witch wouldn't have been nearly enough fun with just her confidence and attitude. The legions of demons that stand in her way make for some of the most adrenaline-pumping encounters in recent memory. And ahead of whatever fantastic new battles Bayonetta has in store for us, we would like to take a look back on some of the most memorable boss encounters in the series so far. We did our best to write around any real spoilers, but if you haven't played these games by now, seriously, get on that. Please note that this is our opinion, so this list may not match with your expectations. Also note that this list is also in random order. Fortitudo, Bayonetta. The first boss of Bayonetta 1 sets the stage for the entire series. It is a powerful foe that will be quite the challenge despite being the opening boss. This epic battle takes place in a coliseum and is mostly a grounded battle. Patient players will still come out on top and see the glorious end of Fortitudo. Gamora, Bayonetta 2. One of the most common summons in the first game turns out to set the events of Bayonetta 2 in motion, when the infernal dragon breaks free of a summon and starts to wreak havoc on the open world. The beast is not only a fitting climactic duel to open the game with, but the ferocity with which the dragon-like being attacks Bayonetta is truly awe-inspiring. Valiance, Bayonetta 2. The giant Valiance hounds Bayonetta in the sequel, and remains memorable for its ability to use a huge sword and take on our heroine through different forms of attack. Valiance will continuously swing his sword in several different directions, and the player has to dodge at the right time to initiate an attack sequence. Joy, Bayonetta. One of the most dangerous foes in Bayonetta because of their similar abilities to Bayonetta herself. The Joy is an incredibly quick foe that can mimic quite a few of the Umbran Witch's abilities, including her sword, her whip, and her guns. Players have to be highly adaptable to keep up with this hardcore foe. Valor, Bayonetta 2. The knight-like Valor is an imposing golden enemy with quite the sword, which it will liberally use for most of its attacks as it engages Bayonetta. The cunning foe will eventually topple an entire tower to bring the battle underwater. Smart players will bide their time with ranged weapons until which time allows them to get in close with Salamandra. Temperantia, Bayonetta. The epic embodiment of the virtue of temperance, the hulking Temperantia is one of the major bosses within Bayonetta 1. On top of its tentacle-like hands, which can fire missiles while holding the very ground Bayonetta walks on, it commands the power of wind and brings with it fierce tornadoes which allow it to control the battle. SLOCH, Bayonetta 2. Is there anything possibly more frightening to think of than a four-handed foe? SLOCH appears as an intimidating foe in Bayonetta 2, and players have to go toe-to-toe with the beast and its wide range of attacks and really quick movements. With its surprising speed, it's the kind of foe that Bayonetta needs to keep on dancing around until that perfect moment. SAPIENTIA, Bayonetta. Another virtue in the embodiment of prudence, this giant enemy attacks Bayonetta on the seas with its control over the waters and moves with a fierce speed. His is a battle of attrition, and Bayonetta will need to outmaneuver his lasers and whirlpools to finish the enemy off. JEANNE, Final Encounter, Bayonetta. The mysterious JEANNE attacks Bayonetta several times throughout the first game, but each time you get the distinct impression that the witch is simply playing with you and not going all out. That changes by the final encounter, in which she's attacking the player with a skill that they'll need to match, with the ability to activate witch time on a hair trigger if they're going to have a shot. Baldur, Bayonetta 2. A tyrannical man with an unexplained fascination with Bayonetta, Baldur is the mysterious figure behind the Ithavoll group and conspires to revive an enemy to recreate existence in his image. In battle, he sheds his gold-trimmed coat in order to produce imposing wings and easily throw a player who doesn't know what they're doing around like trash. His command of the light makes him an intimidating presence. Resentment, Bayonetta 2. The Resentment will stand against Bayonetta, and in increasingly involved battles where the two of them will fight against a fantastic backdrop. Patience is the name of the game with Resentment, since it has skills that can match Bayonetta beat for beat, with witch time being the one that can turn the tables. Glamour, Bayonetta 2. One of the first major enemies that Bayonetta takes on in the sequel, the Serpentine Glamour looks more like a terrifying dragon than a First Sphere Seraph. The long, sharp claws and devastating fangs in its dragon-like mouth aren't the only threat. icicle spears that can rain down out of nowhere, and the moving ground can be super disorienting. All around, Bayonetta 2. Allegedly once a noblewoman who poisoned and killed herself as revenge against the man who left her in a past life, this is the would-be Queen of Inferno who holds a grudge against Madame Butterfly, whom Bayonetta is intrinsically connected. Her range is stunning, with her sharp claws able to tear into Bayonetta from a stunning distance. Staying nimble and able to activate Witch Time within a moment's notice is key to victory. Rodin, Bayonetta. Rodin is not someone to be messed with. The true nature of Rodin throughout the first Bayonetta is kept somewhat as a mystery. Rodin is a super boss for both titles. Players can restore his powers through purchasing a platinum ticket for a tidy sum, and doing so will pit you against the demonic weaponsmith who can stop a wicked weave with his hand. He's completely immune to Witch Time, meaning you'll need to have full control over your moves to best the fallen Rodin. Jubileus, Bayonetta. Though not the hardest boss on this list, Jubileus is still, through sheer scale, the most impressive boss in the entire series. Taking place within the field of the absolutely colossal being, Bayonetta will have to do battle with the towering figure that can throw literal galaxies at her, run her through with arms the size of skyscrapers, and teleport her to alternate areas full of traps. It's a spectacle that Bayonetta spends the entire game building towards, and the most fitting end to such an over-the-top title. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from Gaming Bolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.